Hey, adrenaline junkies, welcome to Criminal News.
You're not. On the ground. Drop the knife! No, drop the knife!
Bronx, New York. On the morning of April 21st, a civilian called 911 to report a man acting erratically while walking along Washington Avenue, holding a pair of scissors. By the time officers arrived, the individual had already left the scene. Additional units were dispatched to help locate him.
Grab it, brother. Grab the back up. No! Grab the back. No! No, drop the knife! Drop the knife! No, drop the knife!
About 20 minutes later, 2 officers spotted the suspect, 38-year-old Lorne Gordon, nearby. When ordered to drop the weapon, Gordon threw a backpack at one officer and suddenly charged forward with the scissors still in hand. Facing an immediate threat, the officer fired 3 shots to stop the attack. Gordon was transported to the hospital with injuries and is currently recovering. When you choose confrontation over cooperation, the line between a mistake and a tragedy can be just seconds apart. Don't let a reckless decision destroy your future.
Stop it! Stop it, you're gonna get shot!
1863. Okay.
Police responded to a ground floor apartment where Schwab lived and found her standing at the doorway, holding a phone in her right hand while gripping a knife pointed downward in her left.
Hi, miss. Miss, drop the knife. Drop the knife. Stop coming towards me. Stop coming towards me. Stop where you are, miss. Stop where you are. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. Drop the knife, miss. Casey, taser. Stop it. Stop it, you're gonna get shot!
As Schwab began to step outside, one officer suggested using a taser to subdue her. However, just seconds later, another officer drew his firearm and fired 3 shots. Schwab collapsed and was later pronounced dead.
Hi, miss. Miss, drop the knife. Drop the knife. Stop
moving! Stop moving!
Stop where you are, miss! Stop where you are! Drop the knife! Drop the knife! Drop the knife, miss!
Put the knife down.
Stop it! Stop it, you're gonna get shot!
Shots fired, shots fired.
Her family has since filed a lawsuit, alleging the officer used deadly force unnecessarily. Following an investigation, the court ruled that neither of the officers involved would face charges, stating that the use of force was justified under the circumstances. Do you believe using live rounds to stop Schwab was truly necessary? If you agree, press 5 in the comments below. Charlotte, North Carolina. In the early morning hours of August 20th, Charlotte police responded to a call for assistance from an apartment complex. Upon arrival, officers heard a loud argument coming from inside, followed by gunshots. They were forced to breach the door. Inside, they encountered 28-year-old Peter Corey, who was behaving aggressively. After being ordered to drop his firearm, Corey let the weapon fall. But as officers moved in, the situation took a dangerous turn.
Police department! Police department!
Corey suddenly pulled out a knife and attacked one of the officers. Amid the chaos, another officer was forced to open fire. Corey was pronounced dead at the scene. The injured officer received emergency treatment and fortunately survived. A woman inside the apartment, the victim of the earlier gunfire, was also transported to the hospital and is now recovering. When you carry a weapon and choose to attack, you close off every opportunity for help or forgiveness. Chicago, Illinois. On the morning of November 6, 2023, a group of patrol officers attempted to approach 32-year-old Trenza Campbell on the street. When approached, Campbell refused to cooperate and began walking away. The situation quickly escalated into a physical struggle, during which Campbell suddenly pulled out a gun and shot one officer in the arm. 3 other officers immediately returned fire, striking Campbell. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The injured officer was taken to the hospital and is currently recovering.
Jaywalk, you don't have a shot. Stop.
When you attack law enforcement, they have the right to act to stop the threat. A single reckless moment can cost a life.
On the ground! Oh, fuck.
St. Paul, Minnesota. On the afternoon of December 7th, a woman called police to report that Brandon Keys, 24, who had a restraining order against him, was following her and had intentionally rear-ended her vehicle. The situation escalated when Keys got out of his car, allegedly holding a gun, and began approaching the victim at the intersection of North Cretin and Marshall.
On the ground! Oh, fuck.
Morris, Illinois. On September 29th, a 911 call requested help for a woman experiencing a mental health crisis.
Shots fired.
The caller reported that 40-year-old Olivia Schwab was holding a knife and threatening to harm herself.
Where is he? Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way! 138, I'm hit. Send me medics. I'm not code 4 yet, though. Get out of the fucking way, lady! Is he down? Lady, get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Move! Move! Get the fuck out of the way so I can get him out! Get out of the way! Let me help him! Let me help him!
Officer Michael Cheetah arrived on scene and immediately ordered Keys to get on the ground. But instead of complying, Keys opened fire. A shootout broke out in the middle of the street. Keys was struck by gunfire, and Officer Cheetah was hit in the leg.
On the ground! On the ground!
Under the Phelan Bridge.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! One hit! Shots fired! Hit!
Shots fired, 1 hit. 10-3.
Where is he? Get out of the way! Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
Both were transported to the hospital. Keys did not survive, while Officer Cheetah was treated and later released. No other injuries were reported. When you disregard the law, the outcome often leads to a dead end. Obey restraining orders, stay calm, and avoid escalating the situation. That's the right path forward.
On the ground! On the ground! On the ground! On the ground! Not to get tased! Not to get tased!
Seattle, Washington. On the night of October 30th, 2023, dispatch received a report of a man who had suddenly punched a pedestrian in the head and continued threatening to attack others near downtown Seattle. Police quickly arrived at the area of 3rd Avenue and located the suspect. As officers approached, the man acted aggressively, made threats, and then fled on foot. After a short chase, he was apprehended. While being taken into custody, the suspect continued to strike and wrestle with 2 officers. A minor laceration occurred during the struggle, but no serious injuries were reported.
Please stop! Please stop! On the ground! On the ground! On the ground! On the ground! Not to get tased!
About to get tased! Stop fighting! I got one. Stop fighting! You know what? Stop fighting!
After being evaluated by medical personnel, the suspect was transported to King County Jail on assault charges.
Your shirt. Stop doing that. Run itself. Please stop! Please stop! On the ground! On the ground! On the ground! Not to get tased!
He could have just paid a fine, but instead, he turned a simple situation into years behind bars. Sometimes keeping your cool is the only way to keep your life on track. West Haven, Connecticut. On the night of December 1st, 2023, officers were dispatched to an apartment on Terrace Avenue after a woman called for help, reporting that her boyfriend had assaulted and nearly strangled her. When officers entered the apartment, they found 33-year-old Jovan Washington still lying on the bed.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the fucking gun! Got it.
One of the officers informed him he was under arrest and asked if he wanted to put on pants before being handcuffed. Washington pretended to agree and walked toward a dresser. But just seconds later, he suddenly reached under the bed and pulled out a gun hidden beneath the mattress. During the struggle, Washington fired a shot, striking one officer in the leg.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
The second officer immediately drew his weapon and returned fire, bringing Washington down. Despite receiving medical aid, he was later pronounced dead. The injured officer was transported to the hospital and is currently recovering. Riverside County, California. On the night of October 18, 2023, police were dispatched to the Thousand Palms area in search of a suspect connected to a serious hit-and-run incident. When officers approached a suspicious vehicle, they detained the driver, 34-year-old Jose Rosales Perez, but suddenly, the passenger, 27-year-old Christian Galeana, pulled out a firearm and opened fire on the officers.
Shot fired! Shot fired!
A shootout erupted at the scene. One officer was struck and hospitalized, but is now recovering.
Yep.
Galeana was also injured, received medical attention, and was taken into custody. Both suspects are now facing multiple charges for their actions. One impulsive act, one wrong decision, and you could lose your freedom and your chance at a better life. Be truthful, cooperate, and protect yourself the right way. Queens, New York. On the afternoon of April 5th, two police officers were on duty near Jamaica Avenue when the driver of an MTA bus flagged them down to report a fight occurring inside the vehicle. As they approached, a passenger, 22-year-old Devin Spraggins, stepped off the bus. However, instead of cooperating, Spraggins shoved one of the officers to the ground and ran. The foot pursuit continued along 161st Street.
He just punched me!
That's why right there!
When Officer Bowler caught up to him, Spraggins suddenly pulled out a gun and shot the officer. He then pointed the gun at the victim from the bus once again before fleeing.
Open the door. He just punched me.
That's fine right
You
there.
just-
That's his back.
What are you?
Yes.
Yo, stop, bro.
While running, Spraggins turned and aimed his gun at the second officer, who responded by firing 2 shots. However, Spraggins was not hit and kept running. He was later apprehended and is now facing multiple charges. The injured officer was taken to the hospital and is currently recovering.
Northbound 161.
Stop! Do not reach your fucking waistband! Do not! Do not! Do not!
Salt Lake City, Utah. On the night of May 12th, police attempted to stop a vehicle driving without headlights at the intersection of North Temple and 600 West. However, the driver sped off, crashing into several parked cars before abandoning the vehicle and fleeing on foot. Inside the car, officers found a small amount of marijuana. Nearly 40 minutes later, an officer spotted the driver, identified as 18-year-old Carlos Ocampo Flores, running along the train tracks.
Stop! Do not reach your fucking waistband! Do not! Do not! Do not! Do not! Alright! X-ray 113 suspect! Alright! Alright, listen! Pick it up! Pick it up! I got you, man! Taser, taser, taser! I'm not reaching you! Hey, do not fucking reach! Or you will get fucking shot again! I'm not reaching. We need more over here now. I will fucking shoot you. I'm not reaching. I will not. I'm not reaching. Look, hands are untied. Hands are untied. You get him. Just step over this. Step over this. All right, wait. Please, 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 please.
When confronted, Flores repeatedly kept his hands near his waistband. After multiple warnings, the officer fired, causing the suspect to fall. Despite being shot, Flores attempted to get back up, prompting officers to deploy a taser and take him into custody. He was transported for medical treatment and is now in custody. The officer sustained only minor scrapes. When you choose to run and resist, you move yourself one step closer to a prison cell. One reckless decision can cost you your freedom or even your life.